Welcome to the Curate Your Life with Demetria podcast, where we focus on curating your life and your image from the inside out so the life you're living matches the life you dream about. So last week I talked about belief, the belief that you need to have when you're going for a goal or trying to achieve something in your life, or really just when you're trying to live your best life. And I talked about the fact that a lot of times we want to lean on the belief that others have in us. And I said that that's fine. If other people believe in you and you want to lean on that belief, that's fine. But at some point, you have to believe in yourself, because that is the thing that is going to get you across the finish line. And I introduced the concept of your internal belief team. And I want to talk a little bit more about that. Your internal belief team is made up of three internal personas: your best friend, your biggest cheerleader, and your faithful accountability partner. That's your internal belief team. I want to talk a little bit more about each one of those and kind of what that means. So let's start with best friend. And when you think about your best friend, what do you think about? That's somebody who is always there for you, no matter what. Whether you have to reach out and say, hey, I need you. Can you talk? Can you come over? Can we get together? Or if it's somebody who just knows, like right now, she needs me. She needs me to be there for her. And they are there for you. Whether you have to ask for it or not, they're there for you. Your best friend is somebody who has your best interest in mind. They want what's best for you. They are happy for you when things go well. They want you to be your best self. They accept you for who you are. You don't have to be anybody different. They love you unconditionally, and they love you for who you are. They like the quirks and the habits. They take you warts and all, right? They're fun. It's somebody that you enjoy being with, even if you're not doing anything, even if it's just a regular Tuesday. There's somebody who, just by them being there, makes you feel better. They're honest. They will tell you like it is, from a place of love, whether you want to hear it or not. And I actually have a funny story about me and my best friend. I was going to a wedding. I was shopping for a dress, and she was with me, and we're out at the department stores. And I tried on a couple of dresses, but nothing that I loved. And I saw a dress on the rack, and it was on sale. I think it was like $12. It was like clearance, super cheap. And again, this has been some years ago. And so I'm like, I'm going to try it on. It looked pretty cute. So I went into the dressing room, tried on the dress. And I'm sure I looked at it when I was probably on the fence and thinking to myself, well, maybe I can make this work. It's really cheap. Maybe this will be the dress that works for me. I opened the door, and I don't even think I got 2 steps out of the dressing room. And my best friend said, absolutely not. And I just turned back around and I went back into the dressing room, took it off. And so when I came out of the dressing room, she was talking to the sales lady, and the sales lady was a little bit, I guess, shocked about the fact that she said absolutely not. And I said, okay. And I went back in because I trust her, right? I knew she was being honest, that even if it was $12 or whatever the price was, that it didn't work. It was not the dress for me. When the sales lady was like, that's a good friend. And I said, yes, that is a good friend. Somebody who will say to you, that does not work. And without judgment, from a place of love, being supportive. 2 other qualities that you want in a best friend that your best friend probably has. They don't judge you. They, again, accept you for exactly who you are, and they support you in your efforts and in your life and just in you being you. So that is one of the internal personas that you need when you are trying to reach a goal, or again, just trying to get through life on a daily basis. You need your best friend, and you also need to be your best friend. Everybody also needs a cheerleader. And a lot of times, so I'm going to go through these 3 personas that I talk about, but a lot of times this can be the same person, or one person can take on more than one of these roles. So the next one is cheerleader. You need a cheerleader in your life. They bring the energy and the positive vibes, and they hype you up. They hype you up internally, and they hype you up externally to your outside fans. Think about the cheerleaders for the sporting teams. They're rah-rahing and cheering their team on, even when things aren't going well. And part of that is to turn up that energy, right? To keep the fans in there, keep them going, keep them rooting for their team, and keep them in it, which in turns, if the fans are in it and cheering them on, that gives the players something to hold on to, right? Sometimes you need somebody to say, hey, I know it's not going perfectly, but you're doing great. Keep going, because you never know when it will turn around. And when the cheerleaders are not actively cheering and really pumping people up, they're still there on the sidelines, giving you that moral support, really leaning in and ready for you, and they'll be there when you need it. So even if they're not jumping and cheering and clapping, you know that they're still there on the sidelines, on your side. And they're focused on what you're doing. They're paying attention. And just that, sometimes just having somebody who is saying, I see you, I see what you're doing, I'm rooting for you. Again, even if they're not bringing all the hype and the energy, just the fact that there is somebody out there who's like, I see you, I see what you're doing, and I applaud that, can help you to muster up the courage and the grit you need to keep going, to keep doing the things. And they're always happy to see you succeed, your internal cheerleader. But they're also there to, like I said, encourage you when things aren't going well. And then that brings us to the accountability partner, and I call it your faithful accountability partner. Somebody who knows what you're going for, who understands it, and they know that you are asking them to help keep you on track. So they are brave enough to come to you with the hard questions or with that nudge when you need that gentle nudge, but they're doing it from a place of love. And really, they're honoring your request for them to keep you accountable. They don't judge you. They check in often. They're there to kind of take the temperature and to see if there's anything else that you need for success. Sometimes they're a cheerleader. Like I said, if there's an external person, they sometimes will take on multiple roles. And same thing with this internal persona. Sometimes your accountability partner is a cheerleader, and sometimes they're just a friend who's going to be there saying, hey, I see you, I'm here with you. But they are also going to be the person who will push you a little bit and who's okay with the fact that you might not necessarily always like that, but that's what you need in that moment, and that's what they agreed to do. And they're going to be okay with the fact that you might not like them in that moment, but they're doing that because that's what you asked them to do. And later on, you'll realize they were in that role because I asked them to do that, and they were doing what I wanted them to do. Because sometimes you need somebody to give you that extra little push. And one thing that I want you to hear is that none of these people, internal personas, are there to beat you up if things go wrong. None of them are doing it from a punitive or punishing place. It's all about supporting and bolstering you up. It's not about beating you up. So that's one of the things, right, that can hold us back when we're going for something. That negative self-talk that we sometimes have on loop. Oh, I knew you couldn't do it. Oh, you never do things right. You're not going to do this because you didn't do this, this, and this. Looking at the past and holding the past against you. Nobody wants that dialogue in their head, right? Of all the things that you didn't do. And it feels especially bad when we're saying that to ourselves. So if you have an agreement with yourself that you're not going to have that running dialogue, you're not going to allow yourself to beat yourself up, you're going to have your own back, you're more likely to say, okay, I'm willing to try this because I know that I'm not going to talk to myself like crap, right? I'm going to be supportive. I can look inside for the support that I need because I have made this agreement with myself. It takes thinking that on purpose and practicing, because it's pretty easy to just go normal status quo with all of those negative thoughts running through your brain. That's our default as humans. So it takes some work and some practice to build that muscle of talking to yourself like you would speak to somebody else. Because if you really think about the things that run through your head on a daily basis, some of the thoughts that you have, if you think about somebody else saying that to you, how would you feel? You'd feel awful. You probably wouldn't allow it, or I hope you wouldn't allow it. So why do we talk to ourselves that way? Why do we allow that? So what I'm saying is you start to build and strengthen your internal belief team. And when you are thinking about going for that next big goal or trying something new, you're not going to be afraid of that self-talk that comes up. You're not going to beat yourself up. You're going to know that, hey, I'm going to have my own back on this. Even if there are missteps, even if things don't go perfectly, I can do this. I can treat myself well. I can handle it if it doesn't go perfectly. And I can handle it with a certain amount of grace, right? With grace for yourself. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to go a little bit deeper into that internal belief team and just give you something to think about the next time dialogues are running through your head. Ask yourself, would my best friend say this to me? Am I being my best or biggest cheerleader? Am I holding myself accountable for things that I want to do? If you want to continue this conversation with like-minded women who are creating lives that they love, come join us in the Curate Your Life Facebook group. Or if you're ready for the tools that will help you build a life that you don't feel the need to escape from, schedule a consultation with me and discover how coaching can benefit you. You'll find the links in the show notes. Until next time.